Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaskaram, everybody. So I'd appreciate if everybody can mute themselves, their lines, so we don't have disturbance during the class. Okay, so we were to start from Swayambhu, and I recollect we've done the meanings for until Prabhu or Ishwaraha. So we are now starting to chant Swayambhu, and then we'll start taking a look at the meanings. That's correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So we'll look at this sloka now. We'll try to break it down into individual namas. The first namam is Swayambhuhu with a visarga. But when we combine it with the next namam, things will change. So first we will only look at the namams individually, and then we will think about what are the chanting rules we have to follow for this sloka. So Swayambhuhu, Shambhuhu with a Mahapranabha, Adityaha, Pushkarakshaha, Mahaswanaha, Anadhinidhanaha, and here you will see there are two das, Anadi, the regular da, the Alpa Prana, Nidha would be the second Mahaprana. The next namam is Dhata, Vidhata, Dhaturuttamaha is one namam. So I'll go about for one more time. Swayambhuhu, Shambhuhu, Adityaha, Pushkarakshaha, Mahaswanaha, Anadinidhanaha, Dhata, Vidhata, Dhaturuttamaha. So there are
Nine names.
9 names. Yeah.
Can we just go through again with that name and numbers? I not written the number. So Shambhu is one.
Correct. Swayambhuhu, Shambhuhu, Adityaha, Pushkarakshaha, Mahaswanaha, Anadinidhanaha, Dhata, Vidhata, Dhaturuttamaha.
Thank you.
Now, when we chant the sloka, the Swayambhu with the Visarga will now the Visarga will be gone. So you will only have an extra kind of the sh kind of sound that will emphasize the following sh. So it will be Swayambhu Shambhuradityaha, Pushkaraksho Mahaswanaha, Anadhinidhano Dhata, Vidhata Dhaturuttamaha. So that's how we will chant it. When you do like the individual Namavali puja, then Swayambhuve Namaha, so that the individual namas will be in a different vibhakti. But if you are just calling Bhagavan with one of these namas, then not calling, like Sambodhana Pradama would be different. So Shambhuhu is the namam. Shambhu is how we will call him. And if we are doing Namavali, the puja, then we'll say Shambhave Namaha. So that's how it'll come. But in the sloka, it'll all obviously, as a beautiful string of namas, they will all be combined together. Who would like to chant this with me?
I can do it.
Okay. Swayambhu Shambhuraditya.
Swayambhu Shambhu Aditya.
You have to combine it together and exactly say how I am saying it. Though the individual namas may be Shambhuhu and Aditya, when we combine them and we are chanting as a sloka, it will become Shambhuraditya. Okay, it has to be the exact pronunciation. Swayambhu Shambhuraditya,
Swayambhu Shambhu Aditya.
Pushkaraksho Mahaswanaha,
Pushpa Raksho Mahaswana.
Anadhinidhano Dhata,
Anadi Nidano Data.
Dhata,
Dhata.
Vidhata Dhaturuttamaha,
Vidhata Dhatu Rutmaha.
Dhaturuttamaha.
Dhatu Uttama.
Nope.
No.
Dhaturuttamaha.
Dhatu Ruttamaha.
Yeah. It is not tha, it is ta with another, like, a second ta added to it. So it will be Dhaturuttamaha.
Oh, okay. So it's Dhatu Uttamaha.
When you individually divide the names, that is how it will be. But when we are chanting, we'll have to chant it as Dhaturuttamaha.
Dhatu Ruttamaha.
Dhaturuttamaha.
Dhatu Ruttamaha.
Yeah. So we'll do it one more time. Swayambhu Shambhuraditya
Swayambhu Shambhu Raditya.
Pushkaraksho Mahaswanaha.
Pushpa Raksho Mahaswana.
Mahaswanaha.
Mahaswanaha.
Anadinidhano dhata.
Anadi Nidano Datha.
Anadinidhano dhata.
Anadi Nidano Datha.
Vidhata dhaturuttamaha.
Vidhata Dhatu Ruttamaha.
Very good, very good. The second time I got it right. So I was thinking we'll do two more slokas and then we'll go into the meanings. So the next sloka, thank you Lataji, unmute yourself now. The next sloka, Aprameyaha Rishikeshaha, and here we will see two different kinds of shas. We will talk about that, the sibilants. Padmanabhaha Amaraprabhu. And there is the avagraha, the S kind of sign in Sanskritam, if you're reading from a Sanskritam document, that actually represents the mixed, like, in a sandhi format. Padmanabhaha, there is an a, but because of the sandhi, it actually becomes Padmanabho Maraprabhu, but there is an a there. So that symbol is called as an avagraha. Padmanabho Amaraprabhu, there are two names. Vishwakarma Manuhu Tvashta, Sthavishtha, Sthaviro, Dhruvaha. I'll do it one more time. Aprameyaha, Hrishikeshaha, Padmanabhaha, Amaraprabhuhu, Vishwakarma, Manuhu, Tvashta, Sthavishtha, Sthaviro, Dhruvaha. So there are 10 names in this sloka. So,
Apramemo is one, na?
correct. Aprameyaha is one. Yeah.
Okay.
So the more important, let's just like look at the nuances and of pronunciation. Hrishikeshaha. So there is a lot of confusion generally for all of us because there is only one S in English, but there are three sibilants in Sanskritam and most of the regional languages. We tend to taint the individual like sibilants because of the influence of English. So we do differentiate between sa and sha, but we are unable to differentiate between sha and sa. So I want to just take like 30 seconds to explain the individual sibilants. It is important to pronounce this name as Hrishikeshaha. So if I had to do sha and sha at the same time, sh will be where my tongue will touch the roof of the palate. Sh, like in shanmukaha, and sha will be where the your lips get wider and the tongue will touch the top of the teeth, not the top of the roof of the palate. Sha, sha. So there is a difference in those sounds. Sa is very easy for most of us, like Saraswati. Nobody makes a mistake with that. It's only these two. So Hrishikeshaha. Hrishikeshaha. I want everybody to just go and off mic obviously, like on mute. Just try this namam a couple times to get it right. Hrishikeshaha. Padmanabhaha. Amaraprabhuhu. Amaraprabhuhu. Vishwakarma. Even here it is not Vishwakarma, it is Vishwakarma. not Viswakarma. There is a difference between the two. So Vishwakarma, Manuhu, Stvashta, the Sha with a regular Ta. But the next Namam is Sa has a second, like a Mahaprana Tha, Stha, V, Shtha with the Mahaprana Tha, Sthavishtaha, Sthaviro, Dhruvaha. I hope that's clear. The Visargas now. Rishikesh, so Aprameyo Rishikesha Padmanabho, because the Visarga is followed by a Pa, there will be a kind of an F kind of a sound that will happen in between the two. So it will be Aprameyo Rishikesha Padmanabho Amaraprabhu. And Amaraprabhu, we don't say that, but your Bho, Padmanabho, will be a little more elongated to compensate for the discrete A. Not a missing A, but a discrete A. So the sloka will sound Aprameyo Hrishikeshah Padmanabho Maraprabhu. That's the first line. Vishwakarma Manustvashta Sthavishthasthaviro Dhruvaha. We have to do the Alpa Prana and Mahaprana, differentiate that, very, very important. As we go into the next slokas, I'll be insisting on that. Who would like to chant this sloka with me?
Bhagini, I would like to chant.
Awesome. Thank you, Mahodaya. Aprameyo Hrishikesha
Aprameyo Rishikesha
Padmanabho Maraprabhu
Padmanabho Maraprabhu
Vishwakarma Manustvashta
Vishwakarma Manustvashta
Sthavishthasthaviro Dhruvaha.
Tavishthasthaviro Dhruvaha.
We'll do it one more time, Mahodaya. Aprameyo Hrishikesha
Aprameyo Rishikesha
Padmanabho Maraprabhu
Padmanabho Maraprabhu
Vishwakarma Manustvashta
Vishwakarma Manustvashta
Sthavishthasthaviro Dhruvaha.
Tavishthasthaviro Dhruvaha.
Awesome. We'll do like the full lines. And I'm hoping like everybody is able to understand the difference between the different sounds. If I'm being clear about it, let me know if I need to clarify a little more. We'll do the full lines, Mahoday.
Okay.
Aprameyo Hrishikeshah Padmanabho Maraprabhu
Aprameyo Rishikesha Padmanabho Maraprabhu
Vishwakarma Manustvashta Sthavishthasthaviro Dhruvaha.
Vishwakarma Manustoshta Stavishtastaviro Dhruvaha.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any questions or doubts so far, or can we move into the next sloka?
Yeah, here I have a little, which when you say Stavishta, Staviro, the Sta will be the same, only the Vishta and Viro will be different. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
So, question on Padmanabho Amara Prabhu. So, when you read it together, you should say Padmanabho Mara Prabhu or Padmanabho Amara Prabhu.
Padmanabho Maraprabhu is how it will sound, but the bho would be more than 2 matras. So we talked about, sorry, I don't think I spoke about the matras here in this class. So a unit of time in chanting is called a matra. So a hrasvam is 1 matra, a dhargam is 2.5 matras, and in this case, because there is an the bho would be a little longer than the regular 2.5 matras bho. And the matra is like, it's not a chutki. Depending on how fast or slow you're chanting, your pace of chanting, the unit of time will change. But the individual, like, if I'm saying Rishi, Ke, Bho, they all should be the same unit of time. But the Bho would be a little longer to compensate for the discrete A. So, Aprameyo Hrishikesha Padmanabho Maraprabhu. So, I don't know if you have noticed the subtle and extra length that was given for. Otherwise, Maraprabhu is not the word. He is Amara.
Got it. Thank you.
So, Guruji, I wanted to remind you, you always told me, are you recording, no?
Yes, I am recording.
Thank you.
I hope I am recording. Where does it say it's recording? Yeah, recording is in progress. Okay, so we'll go to the next sloka as well. And let me know if this breakdown is helping. If not, we'll just move into the meanings and just chanting. Ultimately, my goal is to make sure that you're
Guruji,
sure. Hello.
can you repeat the second line again, Guruji, please?
Sure. Vishwakarma. So, do you want the breakdown or do you want the chanting?
Just the breakdown once again, please.
Okay. Vishwakarma Manuhu Tvashta. Did I say Tvashta in the past? I hope I did not. Tvashta is the Namam, but Manuhu and Tvashta combined together will become Manustvashta when we are chanting, but the Namam itself is Tvashta. Stavishtha is one Namam, Staviraha is the other Namam, Dhruvaha is the last Namam.
Thank you.
Guruji, I have not written the numbers, so there are total, if you can go with that.
10 Namas.
10 numbers. So that is Aprameyo, Rishikesha is 1.
No, there are 2 different ones. So I'm just, when I'm doing this, you may want to just, write down the number
Yeah.
in your book. So Aprameyaha, Rishikeshaha, or even like, if you do commas, you don't even have to write numbers.
Okay.
Aprameyaha, Rishikeshaha, Padmanabha, Amaraprabhuhu, Vishwakarma, Manuhu, Tvashta, Tavishta, Taviro, Taviraha, Dhruvaha.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to the next sloka. Agrahyaha. So agrahya is how it will show up in the slokas, but there is a visarga. Agrahyaha, Shashvataha, Krishnaha, Lohitakshaha, Pratardanaha. So in the first line there are 5 namas. The next line, Prabhutaha, the bhu is the Mahaprana bhu. Trikakuddhama, so that is one namam. Pavitram, Mangalam Param. So that Mangalam Param is one nama. So there are 4 namams in the second line. Each of these namas have intense, amazing, profound meanings that you just get goosebumps when you're even just thinking about Mangalam Param or Trikakuddhama. So I'll just go one more time. Agrahyaha, Shashvataha, Krishnaha, Lohitakshaha, Pratardanaha, Prabhutaha, Trikakuddhama, Pavitram, Mangalam Param. Can somebody tell me, between Lohitaksha and Pratardhanaha, there is a Visarga. So what would be the change that may happen there?
If?
Correct. Awesome, Taraji. I'm glad somebody is listening. Agrahyashasvatah. Sorry. I keep going back to my Anushtup Chanda's broken down sentence again. Agrahyashasvatah. Sorry. Shvakarma manustvashtastavishtasthaviro druvah agrahyashasvatah Krishno lohitakshah pratardanaha lohitakshah pratardanaha. And that is not pratardana, it is pratardhanaha. The pratardhanaha. Prabhutas, Prabhuta Trikakuddhama. There'll be an extra ha kind of a sound here. Prabhuta Trikakuddhama Pavitram Mangalam Param. Okay, so who would like to chant this with me?
Can I?
Absolutely. Agrahyasasvatah Krishno
Agrahyah Shashwata Krishno
Lohitakshah Pratardanaha
Lohidaksha Pradardanaha
Prabhutah Trikakuddhama
प्रबोधत्रिकगुप्धामा
Pavitram Mangalam Param.
पवित्रं मङ्गलं परम्
We'll do it one more time. Agrahya Shasvatah Krishno.
अग्राह्यः शाश्वतः कृष्णो
So we'll do that one more time, please. Agrahya Shasvatah Krishno. So both in both the visargas there, you will have a h kind of a sound. Agrahya Shasvatah Krishno.
अग्राह्यः शाश्वतः कृष्णो
Lohitakshah Pratardhanah.
लोहिताक्षप्रदर्दनः
Prabhutah Trikakuddhama.
प्रबोधत्रिकः कुब्धामा
Pavitram Mangalam Param.
पवित्रं मङ्गलं परम्
Now we'll do the full sloka, like the one full line. Agrahyaschasvatah Krishno Lohitakshah Prataddanah.
अग्राह्यः शाश्वतः कृष्णो लोहिताक्षप्रदर्दनः
Prabhutah Trikakuddhama Pavitram Mangalam Param.
प्रबोधत्रिकः कुब्धामा पवित्रं मङ्गलं परम्
Awesome, awesome. Very well done.
Thank you.
So we'll stop here and go look at the meanings for all of these namas.
Sorry, just had a question.
Sure.
In my book, it says in the second one, Prapuda Strika. It says there is a sir attached after the term.
So I've heard that version too. Prabhuta Strikakuddhama also is what I've heard. It is the Visarga rule only. When the namas, it is always Prabhutaha Trikakuddhama. It is how a particular book might have interpreted that Visarga Sandhi, whether it is with sa or with a ha kind of a sound. That's the only difference. It's more of a grammar rule than the nama itself.
Okay, thank you.
And then that's the same spot, Guruji. I am also have difficulty because in mine is also given as STRKA. So Strika Kudumbamba. Is that what?
Trikakuddhama is the nama.
Kudama.
Yeah.
Okay. Strika Kudama.
Correct. If your book has an S, it's okay to just read it that way. To what I know, the Santi rule would be without it. But if your book says
Strika
S,
Kudama.
go for it. So, but the way you will chant it if you have an S is Prabhutastrika Kuddhama Pavitram Mangalam Param. And it's more of a grammatical nuance, and you're not making any mistake if you are doing that. To what I know, the grammar rule
Thank you.
would be Prabhutah Trikakuddhama,
Uta
but I'm not
Strika.
a grammar expert.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now we will look at the individual namas. The first one is Swayambhuhu. So I'm assuming, like, a lot of us would have heard the Swayambhu Lingam, like, something that has appeared on its own. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everybody now that we are going into meanings. So somebody or something that has manifested itself and has not been born or not been manufactured or not been made. It is self-manifesting, and nothing else before that should have existed. It is, as we have seen, the Urna Nabhinyaya is what we call it in Vedanta, as we have seen the spider making the web on its own from the material it has. It creates that material, so it has the Ichcha Shakti, the Jnana Shakti, and the Kriya Shakti to be able to create its own home. It doesn't require additional material, additional knowledge, somebody else to come and sculpt it for it. So it has the thought, it has the knowledge to how to create, and it also has the material from inside that it will go and create that web. So something like that. He manifested himself, and he is not made by somebody else, or he's not born to somebody else. So here Shankaracharya explains it. The self-born is how it is translated. Crazy translation, but we know what that really means. He manifested himself because he is foremost of all, or self-born. He is above all and is all. In Ishavasya Upanishad, He is omnipresent and self-existence. He is not dependent on the Maya. The Maya is dependent on him. He is the independent. So I'll touch on a minor beautiful nuance that Shankaracharya keeps telling us quite a bit. So we'll talk about that once we finish reading this. Or the other word, Swayambhu, means the Supreme Lord, or he is independent and not subject to any other. Kenopanishad says the self-existent pierced the openings of the senses. So I won't go into that part, the Kenopanishad part, because it'll come somewhere else and we will go into a lot more detail. So I am actually preparing for a nice Panchikaranam, I think like a 10-minute on Panchikaranam. It's important to understand how our Vedas have seen like the metaphysics and the cosmology behind it. So and when we are going through that session, we will talk about the self-existence pierce the openings of the senses. What does that even mean? So we'll go through that in a little more detail there. So we have heard Shankaracharya talk about Maya, right? And Maya in our contemporary language could be translated into illusion. So there is a component of illusion to it. But essentially what it means is there is an independent entity that has created the universe, and then there is the created universe that was dependent on something. So when we look at all the manifested existing universe that we currently see, there has to be something it is dependent on. If that consciousness did not exist, the Maya would not have existed. So the way the dependence works out as if the consciousness is not dependent on Maya, but Maya is dependent on consciousness. Everything that is in the manifested universe is dependent on a substratum. So that's where Shankaracharya brings up this Mahavakyam from the Vedas, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. All the Jagat that you see is Mithya. Mithya doesn't mean it's illusion, it's a I won't say it's not a magical, like, it's not a total internal reflection and mirage or something like that. So he says it's a reflection, but he is not, the existing Jagat is not the real entity. It is dependent on something else. So in Dakshinamurti Stotram, the first sloka is very, very like amazing, amazing sloka, where Shankaracharya says, Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Maya Bahirivo Yada Nitraya Yas Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Sakshat Evadvayam Tasmai Sri Gurumurtaye Namaidam Sri Dakshinamurtaye. So where he says it's a reflection, it's like Darpana Drishyam, as if it's a mirror image, or seeing oneself in the reflection. That's how he explains it. So the independent existence, Swayambhu, he is independent and self-born. He has manifested himself, and he has manifested not just as himself, but the entire universe, all the Eka, Aneka, or the one and to the multitude of things that we see in the Jagat. The next namam is Shambhu, not Shambhu, it's Shambhu, Shambhu, the bestower of happiness on his devotees. That's the only explanation that is given. Sham Sukham Bhaktanam Bhavayati iti Shambhu. Yeah, that's the only line that Shankaracharya has written. And we are all like direct reflections of that and experienced the joy that Bhagavan provides us. So no more explanation required on that. Adityaha, the sun. Sun here means the golden person in the disk of the sun. It says Chandogya Upanishad, and even Ishanavasya Upanishad has this beautiful description of sun and how something is blocking us to understand to see that sun. So he is the Hiranyagarbha. So there will be another namam that will be Hiranyagarbha, but these two mean something similar. Vishnu, who is one among the 12 Adityas. This is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, which is the Vibhuti Yogam, where Bhagavan says, Aham Dwadashaditya. So I don't recollect exact sloka, but he says, I am those Dwadashadityas. I am Vishnu among Adityas. Or because he is the consort of Aditi, the undifferentiated Mother Earth, that is the other meaning. And Taittiriya Samhita says, she is Aditi. And Taittiriya Brahmanam says, the divine earth of the wife of Vishnu. Or as the one sun reflects himself as many in several receptacles of water, so the one Atman shows as many in various bodies, hence this resemblance to the sun. So there are multiple meanings given here from various Shrutis. And I like the last one. As the one sun reflects himself as many in several receptacles of water, so the Atman, the one Atman, shows as many in various bodies, hence this resemblance to the sun. The next one is Pushkarakshaha, lotus-eyed. And we have seen this Pushkaraksha Namam and Pundarikaksha kind of Namams even in the Dhyana slokas, where his eyes are beautiful as the lotus petals. Mahaswanaha, of mighty sound, or God whose is the holy sound. The Shruti says, the eternal word. Thus, O Maitreyi, this is from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajnavalkya is telling Maitreyi, has been breathed forth from his great being what we have as the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, and the other Vedas. So he is this is I think assuming talking about the Nada Brahman. And when we go into the Lalita Sahasranamam class, we will be talking about the Nada, the Para, the Vaikhari, the Madhyama. So the various forms of Nada Brahman we'll discuss there. Anadi Nidhanaha. Yeah. So the one that doesn't have a beginning and an end. So if we think the end for the dissolution is the end of the universe, it is not the case, because this is a whole cyclical process, and most of the Hindus do understand this. So I don't want to expand on this part for our class. But there is no beginning or end to his manifestation and unmanifestation. And this is a cyclical process. So he is always ever existent. Dhata, he is the supporter or the giver. The supporter, the worlds assuming the form of Ananta and others. So that is the Ananta Shayana analogy, or maybe a metaphor is for that he is and also he is the Ananta also is taken as something that is in the Patalam, holding and the substratum of everything that exists. So that is Dhata. Vidhata, he is the dispenser of the fruit of action and inducer of actions. Or Vidhata means the supporter, Dhatru of even the Ananta and others who bear the burden of the earth. And I recollect we discussed when we talk about fruits of action and he's the dispenser, we discussed that he doesn't sit and calculate and say, okay, you have done this, therefore you get this. He's the dispenser because he's the creator of the process of law of karma, and therefore the automated process will give us what the fruits of action are. He doesn't sit there and make choices for us on what to give to us. Dhaturuttamaha, the best of all constituents. The meaning is that he is the principle called Chit, who is superior to all others, earth, etc. And he is superior to Dhatru, the Brahma, or this may be taken as two different names. Yes, and this is where in Vishnu Sahasranamam you can break the namas in multiple different ways and give different meanings to it. You can also say he is the Dhatuhu and Uttamaha. Dhatu means the Chit which sustains the universe of cause and effect, and Uttama means the highest of all on account of his having gone above all the best things. Dhatu is the material, the root of everything. So you can actually take it as either Dhatuhu Uttamaha or Dhaturuttamaha. Any questions? Are we comfortable to move to the next one? Okay, I'm assuming that's the case. Aprameyaha, so the immeasurable. So in Lalita Sahasranamam, we have seen one namam, Shri Mata, where we said Ma is for measuring. So she is something that can measure, and she is also the immeasurable. So here, Aprameyaha, we are saying she is the only, the mother is the only way we can see the immeasurability of the Aprameyaha, the Brahman. Otherwise, we won't even know what immeasurability even means. So Aprameyaha is the immeasurable because he cannot be reached by the senses as he is beyond sense objects such as sound, etc. Nor through inference can he be known because he is devoid of the marks leading to inference, nor through analogy, for he is without parts and hence no comparison can be made, nor through implication because it is impossible to attain anything without him, nor through the negative proof because he is the positive existence as well as the witness of negation, nor through the testimony of Shastras because he is devoid of any of the excellences produced by means of valid cognition. If so, how is it said that he can be known by the Shastras? It is thus explained: even though the supreme light, the witness of all proofs, etc., is beyond the reach of the Shastras, yet as these serve to remove superimpositions and whatever is not of his nature, they are said to reveal him who cannot be measured, being the witness. It is extremely important to pause on this namam a little bit. So there are multiple kinds of proofs to prove a point, and there is a flow chart on what those individual pramanams is what we call it. So the pramanam has a whole like flow chart which I will share. I will write down somewhere. I will share. So and it is easy to understand, so I'll share it in like English, so you will get it. There are multiple pramanas on how we prove things. One is by visualizing it, one is by like learning about it, one is by experimentation, one is by reading about it, and like analogies and so on and so forth. But here we are saying the aprameyaha, the parabrahman, cannot be proved to us or shown to us in any using any pramanam, including the shastras. But shastras are the only way to know him. So these seemingly contradictory sentences where you're saying first you can't see him, you will never get to see him, but shastras will help you realize him. What does that mean? And why can't we see him? And as a child might ask, yeah, if I went to Vaikuntham, would I not see him? Or like, is he not everywhere? I'm seeing all of this. Is he not in all of this? So there are three components we have learned. We called that Triputi at some point in one of the classes: the knower, the knowledge, and the known. So everything that we see is external to us. So if I may be looking at a car, I may be looking at a building, I may be looking at so many things. These are made of or made by the creator himself, and he is in it. He is not sitting in somewhere in the cloud and manufacturing things and throwing it out there, but he is in those creations or in the manifested universe. But is he just there, or is he also in me? Is he also in the Fitbit that I'm wearing? Or how do I know him beyond what I'm seeing? Is he external to me or is he internal to me? And if he's internal to me, am I different from him? And that's where the Shastras say, remove all the superimpositions. And we have seen the koshas, right? So is he the Annamaya kosham? No, he is not. He is not the body, mind, and senses. Is he the Pranamaya kosham? Is he the Manomaya kosham? Is he the Vijnanamaya kosham? Is he the Anandamaya kosham? So beyond all of these koshas lies the awareness, because he is the subject. He is not the object. He cannot be perceived. All we learn all the time is something external to us, But if he's the one watching, and as we have seen in the Nama Sakshi, if he's the one watching, then he cannot be known by seeing something else. Nothing can see him because he's the one seeing. I don't know if I made that point clear, because that's the most difficult thing to understand, and that's the essence of Advaitam. If you understood this, you got it. Any questions, any comments on this one? Because I want everybody to ponder on this, because this is the Tattvamasi statement that I'm currently providing.
Can you please explain that again?
Yeah. So, for example, let's take a simple sentence in English. Dog is looking at the ball, or dog sees a ball. Here we have a subject and an object and an action, a verb. Dog is the subject who is actually seeing, and ball is something that is being seen. And what's being done between the subject and the object? The object is the ball, subject is the dog. The verb that is connecting them both is to see. So in this case, there is a subject and there is an object. So I am speaking to you. So I am a different entity and you are a different entity, and the verb that is connecting between us is to speak. In the case of Paramatman, the subject and object is the same, because he is the one who is watching. If he is the subject, the dog, there is no ball there, because the ball also is dog. Just for example's sake, that's what I'm saying. He is not the object for perception. So if I want to say, for example, learn a little bit more about the pencil, I can hold it, I can feel it, I can understand the texture, the color, and what it does, and all of those things, because I can see it, or I can feel and touch it. But the one that is touching and feeling it, if I have to know about that, how would I know it? Because I can't see it. I am the one seeing. Does that make sense? And it is not an easy concept to understand. So it will take quite a few times to actually understand, contemplate it. As we were talking about, Uttamadhikaris and somebody who has done a lot of work in the previous janmas and whatnot, the first time you're told this, you will understand it. But
Sridevi, can you just repeat it once again? I just lost you in between. I'm sorry.
no,
Lost means I didn't lose your sound, but I lost my mind.
I know that
I
will
didn't get it.
happen. That will happen.
I didn't get it.
Yes, it is not easy to understand, and that's the whole point on this, call contemplation, and why there are millions of books trying to explain this to us, and why people just go to a forest just to contemplate and figure this out. So it's not easy, and I'm not expecting everybody to understand this in a minute or two. We will continue to talk about this, because this is the ultimate essence of what our Shastras are trying to tell us. We will absolutely learn it throughout the Namas, especially in Vishnu Sahasranamam. There are so many Namas that will try to tell this to us. And hopefully, very soon, Bhagavan will bless us with understanding this knowledge. So think about it as every pramanam or proof helps us understand the object. An object is external to me. I will understand about a nadi, I will understand about a tree, I can understand, I can go through microscopes and try to understand what's inside a leaf, or I can go through look at a telescope and I can understand the external universe. But what is that will help me understand the inside of me? Not inside, not like my sense organs or my nervous system or circulatory system, not the physical, the psychological, all those individual koshas, but the consciousness, the chit, the awareness that I am actually seeing something. Just think about that. I am able to see, I am able to perceive, I am able to understand what's going on, and that awareness, that thing, the chit. So that's why when I said thing, that's what they said, tat, that. They cannot even describe any more than that. Like in the Shastras, that something that is helping us see and be conscious and be aware, that itself is us. That consciousness in me is able to help me speak using my sense organs like my mouth, my tongue, or helping me see through my eyes. But that something has to exist. Otherwise, none of this makes sense. And that's the only difference between a corpse and a live human being. There is no awareness in the corpse. That's why the corpse can't see anything. So it is about, if I have to learn about myself, there is no way I can look at myself. And that's why in Shankaracharya gives that analogy of Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam. It is equivalent to like a Darpana Drishyam, like a reflection in the mirror. So it's not, I'm not expecting everybody to have understood what I said. And that's not an expectation from the Shastras either. So they will keep telling us this until we understand this point, and we'll continue discussing this. I won't make this the only learning. We will learn so many other things, but this is the essence of all the teachings. If Shvetaketu tried to understand this concept, and his father was telling him, go contemplate. No, that's not you. He says, oh, is it the body? No, go back and contemplate. And he'll go back and contemplate and come back. Oh, now I know the prana, because that is what is helping me run my body. And he says, nice, good idea, but no, go back and learn more. And he'll contemplate some more and he'll say, oh, maybe this or maybe this. And ultimately to see that it is none of those. It is the consciousness that exists that will help everybody understand that those all things exist. And we'll talk more about this in the next few namas, or probably till end of the Vishnu Sahasranam.
Guruji, I think what you say is absolutely true, but the fact I think we are surrounded by so many distractions. To get that consciousness is very difficult. Like how we start, even if we try, like for example, when you're talking itself, we are trying to focus, but something else comes in between, right? So I think that is what the Maya, which comes in between, pulls us out, goes back in. And I think as with practice, as you say, we will reach that point one day.
Exactly. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, and the same thing even Patanjali says in Yoga Sutras, Abhyasa Vairagyena, you will get this. Like with Vairagyam on external objects. Vairagyam doesn't mean we have to leave everything and run away. It's just less intended interest in external objects and focusing inwards, or pointing everything inwards. And with Abhyasa, with practice, this will come. And as my Guruji always told us, it's not something that you have to pursue or seek, because you are the one seeking. So there is nothing else you need to achieve except the realization, and that realization is the difficult part to happen just because of that Maya. You are right. And if you're all listening to this, then Maya is also helping you understand this. That's why you're doing, you're listening to Vishnu Sahasranamam, you are in this path. Itself proves that Maya is supporting you to achieve that realization.
So when you talk about Maya, is that illusion?
Correct. The externality.
Excuse me. Is it that we have to renounce all the vasanas to realize Brahman?
The vasanas are critical component to get rid of, just to control the mind. Otherwise, the mind is always just circling around those vasanas. Until we control that mind, the realization or the contemplation does not happen, or the mind and the senses won't let us contemplate and understand or go inwards. That's the purpose of getting rid of vasanas.
Yeah, if I remain without thoughts for about continuous period of about half an hour or 1 hour, then that vasanas go away.
It is not possible for us to what I've been taught. It is not possible for us to be without thought. Even in sleep state, we are still dreaming and there are thoughts going on unless we go into the deep sleep state. And in deep sleep state, we are not aware, or at least the mind is not conscious of the awareness. So it's not possible for us to contemplate during that time. So what I've been taught during meditation is the thoughts will come and go like waves come and go, but you have to go beyond them, go surpass the thoughts and let the thoughts be. They're just doing their job. Surpass all of it and focus on the contemplation that's behind. Just see yourself and be the seer, not the seen. Be the sought, not the seeker.
I see, even without, I mean, if I remain for a flash of, in a flash without thought or continuously, even then that doesn't let me go through, because once I am out of the meditation, all the other outside world is occupies me.
Correct. So there's a
So
beautiful analogy that I will probably take 3 or 4 minutes if everybody has time to explain it. And this is a great analogy my Guruji would have told us, and I remember it almost on a daily basis. He says, take any amazing actors we have in the movies. So whether it is Amitabh Bachchan or NTR or Shivaji Ganeshan or Mammootty or anybody. So for example, this actor has a scene to do as a beggar. So during the shooting time on the movie, when we see him, he is so engrossed in it. He will do all sorts of action that we actually even shed tears looking at this fellow. And he is so involved in it. As soon as the shot is done and he is coming out of that scene, he is just smiling and nothing touches him, isn't it? He goes into the green room, he has a coffee, he's on phone calls and he's laughing and, oh, that was a very good shot, and he's talking to everybody. He's just a different person, though on the scene he's so involved. What is that you really are is something that we need to keep in mind. So in my life, I'm a mother, I'm an employee, I'm a boss, I'm a wife, I'm so many things. All of these are different activities that I'm supposed to be doing. And these are based on my prarabdha karma or my sanchita karmas. These are all the activities I'm expected to do. And I'm expected to do the best of what I can do during these roles that I'm playing. But ultimately, none of this defines me. I am a different entity from all of this. As long as I can remember that I'm that different entity, and none of this taints me. So even in the middle of the night, I'm not worrying about, oh my God, will my son get this or that, or will he do this, or it should not be continuing to worry my mind. It should not, my roles should not be taking control of my activity in the mind or how I perceive things, because things are happening. As long as I'm working with my son on his activities and whatnot, that's my job, I will do that. But essentially, I should remain untainted. How my Guruji also explained is, you are like the movie screen. Whatever happens on the movie, you're watching it from behind. The projector projects it, the movie is playing, we are watching the movie, but the movie screen behind is not changing. It is the immovable, the sthanu that we were talking about as the namam. You are that immovable watcher and not being tainted by what's happening on the screen.
So you mean to say, you're saying that only this could be gained by sadhana for a detachment. So there's a total detachment from all this.
Detachment doesn't mean getting rid of it or ignoring it.
Okay.
Detachment is doing it more objectively, not subjectively, participating in it and doing the best of your abilities. You're not saying, yeah, I know, because I'm very detached with my son, I want to maintain detachment. Therefore, whatever he does, I'm okay with it. No, as a mother, I'm supposed to be doing something with him. Thank God I have a fantastic son. I don't have to do a lot with him. I'm just giving him as an example. So, as a mother, what am I supposed to do? As an employee, what am I supposed to do? Do it to the best of your ability, do it objectively, don't get attached, and that is where the raga, shoka, and moha from Gita classes we talk about.
Okay.
That was
Excuse me.
exactly my point, Guruji. I was just trying to get that into the Bhagavad Gita. Life is a stage, and we're all actors in it. I was exactly going to state that.
Yeah, exactly. And all of these are connected. See, look, no matter what you study in the entire Shastra, like millions and millions of volumes of books that are just unbelievable. We probably did not even get all of them digitized or have handed it over to us, but everything is connected and is trying to take you to the same path. Whether you do Kundalini yoga, whether you do like anything, it's what it's trying to tell us. You are the supreme being, just tied and embodied into this body, but figure out how you're going to realize who you really are. And because you're given this role, it's an avatara, it's a manifestation of Bhagavan. In this role, you're supposed to be doing some activities, do it the best of at the best of your ability, and just, as he says, vasam sijirnani, this body goes away, another body comes. Just do your activity, be untainted with all of this.
Excuse me. During dhyana, when I focus my thought to a particular spot, I no thoughts occur, and I like continue to remain in that spot, so that for a period of time, I'm really I don't no thoughts come to me, and the moment I come out of the thing, all the thoughts are and everyday activity remains normal.
Correct.
Is that that way when I resume my normal activity? Is it that that vasanas take over me?
No, not at all. As long as you're not applying those vasanas to take over your intellect, to differentiate you between from your consciousness and your being, your real being, to what your role is, right? In the example that we were talking about the actor, if the actor was so engrossed in the role that he keeps begging even if he goes to the green room, that's a problem. But as long as you come out of the scene and you're just having a fantastic enjoyable life, which is who we are, the anandam, right? In any kind of scenario, if you should not be letting your happiness go, because that's your real nature. Your Shankaracharya, and this term just keeps ringing in my head for some reason, and I just it's the 24/7 thing. Nandati nandati nandatyeva. योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव. No matter what you're doing, you could be reveling in yoga, you could be doing that activity, as long as you remember that the one who is seeking through you, seeing through you, acting through you is that Brahman. The only thing you will see is that union, that happiness, that you are nothing but him. All the thoughts and everything else that's happening is a movie that's around you.
I suppose as we go along, we'll be able to evolve some over a period of time. We may be able to sort of get clarification
Absolutely.
of our own. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Sure.
how do you differentiate between not doing any action and laziness?
So that's where I was saying ignoring and getting rid of things is called the laziness. And that's what in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan was telling Arjuna, no, you can't run away, you have to fight. That's your dharma. And Arjuna was not lazy. In his case, he was attached to his grandfather and his teacher. So therefore, he did not want to fight and he suddenly wanted to leave. Akarmani is a very important term that will come in millions of times in Gita, not millions, but it'll be very emphasized, and Bhagavan keeps continuing to say, giving up activity like physical activity is not making you akarmani. It's knowing you are not the doer. That is what makes you that is what is called as inaction. That I am not the doer because I am the Atma. And we will continue to see in Vishnu Sahasranama, there are so many namas that will help us, like, abhokta, akarta, abhokta. There are many, many namas that will help us understand this. As long as I know I am reveling as an Atma, I am the Atma, nothing that I do or nothing that I act should taint that Atma, because the Atma is taintless. You can't taint it. Atma is gunarahitam, karmarahitam. And it is not a receiver of fruits of action, or it is not the one doing the action. It is the non-doer, non-receiver of actions. If that is the case, everything that I am doing is part of my role as somebody who is born into this as a human being, into this family, into this role. I'm playing all my roles, but none of those fruits of actions are attached to me because I am the akarta atma. That is what I'm expected to do, not getting rid of, oh, I'm the atma, therefore I'm going to just not do anything. And Bhagavan actually gives examples of, okay, even if you think you're just getting rid of it, you still have to do some activities, like you still have to eat food, you still have to breathe. Those are actions.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Guruji.
Awesome. So since we are over by 15 minutes, I think we'll just take another 15 minutes before we get on the Lalita Sahasranamam. So I'm assuming there are other people who are waiting on Lalita Sahasranamam class who may not be attending Vishnu Sahasranam. So I might have to start that call, or maybe we'll just go ahead with the class without disturbing their schedules. Okay, we'll conclude it here and we'll get on the Lalita Sahasranamam class immediately.
Yeah, Guruji.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. Sarvam Sriman Charanaravindarpanamastu. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up on the Lalita Sahasranamam class.
Thank you. Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.